Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trio Planet, the YouTube channel where we talk all things media. I am Azteral, and I'm joined with Jordan, as always, for
Everybody.
the Wednesday, the Wednesday review. Oh. Welcome, everyone, to the Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 7, Chapter 23, The Spies. So, the episode has just come out. Well, it came out a few hours ago. We've just watched it. And, yeah. Emotions are running high. Raw feels. I knew something big was going to happen this episode. It felt like it did in Season 1, back when we got to Episode 3 and then Moff Gideon was first introduced. But, as always, I'll do my breakdown, and then me and Jordan will discuss our thoughts, feelings, and rating for this episode. So this episode opened on Coruscant, yet again. They're using this set piece a lot, actually, in recent projects. And we're actually opening on probably people's least favourite character in The Mandalorian, Elia Kane, the female communications officer of Moff Gideon, who in previous episodes fried the brain of Dr. Pershing. She's actually in an alleyway with an Imperial probe droid who scans her and demonstrates a hologram of Moff Gideon. Yes, last week we did find out that Moff Gideon had indeed escaped custody and that there was a fragment of Beskar embedded in the shuttle. They have a brief conversation about the Mandalorians helping the Navarians, which is what I'm calling people who live on Navarro, apparently. Whoa. Yeah.
I've just seen a theory on a Mandalorian Facebook page. Do you know the woman character we really fucking hate?
Elia Kane?
Yeah, someone's got a theory that she's another Boba Fett, Jango Fett clone.
Highly doubtful. Highly doubtful.
That's what someone's theory is.
Because if she was, she'd have been tested on, and she'd probably have appeared in the Bad Batch.
Go on.
Unless it's Omega. Oh god, could you imagine?
Oh god, if they did that to us, I would be, I'd be angry.
So the scene then swaps to real person Moff Gideon, not hologram Moff Gideon, and he turns around and he walks down a laser gateway. There's multiple laser gateways, and past a bunch of Imperial Mandalorian troopers.
I thought those were just like showing off. I thought those were just armor stands. I didn't realize those were actually people.
Those are actual guards. They are indeed stood at attention. He also walks past some cloning vats and enters a room full of the Shadow Council, which is a group of Imperial remnants that are trying to herald in the return of the Empire. We don't find out the name of many of these characters, though I'm sure that they're mentioned somewhere, and I can't remember their names from
One of
other
them was obviously a sequel trilogy related to someone from the sequel trilogy.
The two that we do learn the names of is Commandant Hux, who is obviously the, I believe, grandfather of General Hux from the First Order. And the other one,
the idiot douchebag who dies.
Yeah. The other one is Commander, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Pelion. And Commander Pelion is basically Grand Admiral Thrawn's tier 3 Twitch sub simp. Thought I'd throw a little spice into the joke. And Pelion talks about how they need to wait to herald in the return of the heir of the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And Gideon steps in and is like, "Nah, fam, Thrawn's nowhere. spying's my business, and I hear no whisperings of Thrawn. We need to look to new leadership. Gideon then requisitions reinforcements, namely a complement of TIE bombers, interceptors, and something familiar to you sequel trilogy enjoyers, the three of you that exist, 3 Praetorian guards, who are obviously the elite red armored guards that you see in the
as soon as they came out,
the Last
God.
Jedi. Obviously, they're somewhat of a meme in the Star Wars community up until now, because Rey and Kylo managed to dispatch like 6 of them on their own with very minimal effort. So he gets granted those because Gideon believes that the Mandalorians are going to retake Mandalore, because obviously they're going to try to retake Mandalore. It's fucking Mandalore. So at the end of that, that scene ends with Gideon and the Imperial Remnant warlords chanting quite, World War II-ish, "Long live the Empire." And obviously Jordan decided to make the space Nazi joke, which in that moment was very, very accurate to what was going on.
It's very fucking true, though. It's what
But
they
anyway,
are.
After the actual title card of the episode, we are sent back to Navarro, where people are rebuilding after the pirate attack, and there's a shadow looming overhead, and normally that would be a bad thing, but it is in fact the Mandalorian fleet that Bo-Katan would manage to commandeer. Last episode, the much controversial Jack Black Lizzo episode.
Yeah, because people really don't like when a celebrity is in Star Wars.
And Grief Karga sees it and decides he's going to go and welcome Mando back, Mando being Din Djarin. And I'm going to start calling him Din Djarin because there's that many Mandalorians in this show that saying Mando, you probably like, who? So the armorer steps out from her tent that they've established at their little piece of land they've been given by Grief Karga, and the ships come into land, and my god, what a scene. These ships look so real, and it was just a sight to behold. So all of the mercenary, I'm going to call them the Merc tribe, or the Night Owl tribe. Basically, the people that aren't the Children of the Watch disembark the fleet, and it's a bit of a tense standoff before the armorer steps in and proposes a feast. But before we get to enjoy a Mandalorian feast, Grief Karga has arrived somehow. He's got there extremely fast, I think, and gives Din a bottle of Coruscantian alcohol. So yeah, Coruscantian wine, which Grief Karga proposes that Mando should wait for a more intimate engagement. And I'll be honest with you, at this point, if Bo-Katan Kryze and Din Djarin don't get married, I'll be disappointed. So, save it for the wedding, Din, because I'm hearing wedding bells, or especially later in the episode, I'm hearing wedding bells, all over the shop. But Grief Karga doesn't just come with wine, it's Grief Karga, Jordan. He's got another gift in mind, and so they go back to his magistrate office, and where it technically reintroduced to IG-11, but now IG-12, who has been completely stripped of all robotic circuitry, and motor function has been given to the pilot, who for this moment is Babu Frick. But shortly after Babu enters the office, Grogu obviously is put into the pilot seat, and we get probably the funniest scene in Star Wars, where Grogu just starts spamming the word yes, 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 yes. For about an hour.
For about,
It's just yes. Everything is yes to this child.
He just keeps pressing the yes button, and then it's either yes or no. that he presses.
Yeah, and Din's like, nah, he can't pilot this, and Grogu's like, no. And then he's like, I think he's trying to say that he can pilot it, and then Grogu goes, yes. Grogu's able to basically communicate like it's a lie detector test.
Yeah.
And so Din allows it for now, and they go out into the streets of Navarro, where Grogu basically robs a merchant, and Din pays the merchant after Grogu starts eating stuff and destroys a bit of his product.
I think Grogu got the robot and decided to be naughty.
Yeah, Grogu definitely did. But now we're at the Mandalorian feast, Jordan, and it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, it's very
the children of the Watch are sort of just hanging around because they can't eat anything when others are around because they can't take the helmets off, and the Night Owls are sort of just eating everything. But this is more significant than we originally thought when the scene happened, because Bo-Katan stands up and proposes that they move the entire fleet to Mandalorian's orbit and send a scouting party down to the surface to locate the Great Forge and indeed secure an area before bringing the fleet down to the surface to basically, protect it. And she asks for volunteers, and no one's really volunteering for the first few minutes. It's kind of awkward. But who volunteers? Who else is going to volunteer other than Din Djarin? Din Djarin's like, I will go, and Grogu will go with me. And then to that, the woman whose name I can't remember, but she's the original Mandalorian that we saw Bo-Katan with in her original episode, the Heiress, the female Mandalorian, and she says, I will go. And because she says she will go, Axe Wolves says that he'll go. And then because Axe Wolves is going, Paz Vizsla's like, nah, he's not stealing my thunder, and he goes, I'll go. And then a bunch of no-name Mandalorians also say, I'll go. And we've got a scouting party, basically. So, yeah. So, scene directly after it, the fleet is taking off, and if anyone has played Mass Effect, this scene reminds me of the intro to the final battle in Mass Effect 3, where all the ships come out of their like hyperspace like knockoff. I'll show Jordan it after this, and he'll probably immediately agree. But they jump out of hyperspace above Mandalore, and the party goes down. The scouting party consisting of named characters of Bo-Katan Kryze, the Armorer, Din Djarin, Paz Vizsla, Axe Wolves, and the female Mandalorian that Bo-Katan was originally with that I can't remember the name of because she disappeared for several episodes that Axe Wolves was in. So they land on the planet, and they're sort of scouting around and looking for basically any sign of the Great Forge. And that's when in the distance they see something heading towards them, and so they enter Mandalorian mode and do military maneuvers. And it's sort of a land like glider thing. It's like a pirate ship, but it floats and it rolls over the surface. And it's got Mandalorians on it. Actually, it's got Mandalorians that served Bo-Katan Kryze when she was Queen of Mandalore. Way back when in Rebels. And they pledge their loyalty to her yet again. And they have a discussion around a table where we actually find out how Bo-Katan lost the Darksaber. And in fact, she surrendered it and the planet to Gideon in exchange for allowing her people to live.
But Gideon betrayed her.
So she basically confesses everything to them, and she's like, I'm so sorry. And then right after this, she basically says that she can't keep these factions together because all she has to rally them is this blade.
Remember that guy, that Gillard Paloon, whatever his name is? He is in the Star Wars Legends books, and he is Thrawn's right-hand man.
Yes.
If you guys don't know what the Legend books are, they are non-canon, but sometimes...
They're basically canon.
Yeah, it's half and half, really. they basically are not canon, but they can bring characters over that then can be made canon.
Yeah. And now we get to the scene where everyone basically gets to say, "Oh yeah, by the way, guess what? Bo-Katan and Din are gonna get married." Because after Bo-Katan basically says that she can't keep the factions together, Din says, "Well, the blade means nothing to my people. We don't know anything about it. The only things that matter to me is integrity, honor, virtue, all that sort of stuff." Um, and he says that he's not following her because she's carrying the blade, but that he's following her because he believes in her. Which, he does the little arm to like chest plate thing, and it's really sweet. And he's like the most wholesome character in all of Star Wars.
Basically, he's saying that he doesn't care about station; he cares about loyalty and about friendship and that.
And Bo-Katan seems quite taken aback by it. She's sort of like, "Huh."
And by the way,
this guy's not
by
too
the
bad.
way, Will, remember earlier when you said the lightsabers from the Ahsoka trailer are like a blood red?
Yeah.
Dave Filoni says they are orange. They're a shade of orange. Meant to be a shade of orange.
That is interesting.
Dave Filoni did say that they are meant to be a shade of orange. So I'd weave that in
there. What happens next? Next is the decision that made us realize that the Mandalorians aren't just a militaristic, heartless pieces of shit, and that they are indeed good people. They decide that they're going to split up. Any of the survivors, as they're going to be called in this review, basically Mandalorians that survived the Purge or the Night of 1,000 Tears and were living on the surface of Mandalore all this time. That they are in the umbrella of survivors. Any of them that are well enough to sort of fight and move will join Bo-Katan and the Children of the Watch and the Night Owls in searching for the Great Forge. Turns out they actually know where it is, so they don't need to search for it. But all those who are injured are being sent back up to the fleet for medical attention with the Armorer, which, pretty cool. They actually find the entrance to the Great Forge, but they are attacked by a really large crystalline monster. It's not really clear what kind of creature it is. Originally, I thought it was going to be the mythosaur,
I did as well,
and that it was going to rise out, and everyone were going to be like, "It's real," but evidently not. It's this crystalline monster. Also, before that, Axewoves and Paz Vizsla are having a game of space chess, and they get into a fight about it. And Bo-Katan says that no one from either clan can intervene, but as they're probably about to kill each other, Grogu steps in and starts spamming no, 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 no. So yeah, that was funny. So they enter the forge, and they have a nice little discussion about it. They're like, "This used to be the heart of our civilization." And then someone goes, "Oh, look, jetpacks." And they're like, "More Mandalorians." And then Bo-Katan goes, "Those aren't Mandalorians." "Oh, no, it's Imperial Mandalorianly armored shock troopers." That's right, the Empire now has Beskar armor, which, is kind of terrifying because they might not be able to hit anything, but by God, they can take shots now, which makes them infinitely more terrifying. So they have a little fight, and they're like, "We need to, get someone to bring reinforcements. We need to warn people." So Axewoves gets covered by Paz Vizsla. He flies out of a hole in the roof, presumably goes somewhere. We don't actually know. We don't get to see in the episode. Presumably that'll be the opening of the next episode, I believe. But they start actually winning against the Imperials. They are absolutely kicking ass. They're using close quarter combat. It's basically John Wick. It's John Wick in The Mandalorian, and they're absolutely destroying them. So the Imperials retreat, and the Mandalorians follow, and they actually get cut, sort of like separated when they enter an Imperial sort of base where Bo-Katan's like, whoa, what is this place? What's all this? And Din Djarin and 3 other no-named Mandalorians, and I know they're no-named Mandalorians because they fucking die, gets cut off from the rest of the like unit. Like, it's just Din and 3 other guys. The 3 other guys get absolutely murdered. Din puts up a decent fight but gets captured by them. And dun, big bad arrives. It's Moff Gideon in Dark Trooper 3.0 armor. And yeah, he taunts Din and Bo. He sends Din to the debriefing room, as he calls it. And then basically tells Bo-Katan to give him the Darksaber and the planet. And she looks at Paz Vizsla, and Paz Vizsla goes, "This is the way." And Bo runs away and starts cutting a door open, and they start shooting at the door. The door opens, and the Imperials start shooting at them. And it's pretty epic. And Bo-Katan cuts through the other door, and people start escaping, and they're like, "Go, go, go." Grogu gets out, and she's like, "Go, go, go, get out." And Paz Vizsla's like, "I'll cover the rear." And then Bo-Katan's like, "We're not leaving you." And so he hits a button on the door, and he closes the door, and he goes, "This is the way." Before he single-handedly destroys an entire complement of the Imperial Mandalorian troopers. And I mean destroy. Man loses his gun and body slams these people. It's the most badass fight scene in the show. And afterwards, it's a turbulent time, and it's honestly justice for their character, considering they were basically mishandled in the sequel trilogy. 3 Praetorian guards come out, and within mere moments of entering the screen, they have killed Paz Vizsla. He doesn't even get to put up much of a fight against them. They kill him, and they do him the disrespect of just leaving him there. And so Paz Vizsla has indeed sadly passed. Jon Favreau will no longer be voicing the character because he's fucking dead.
He played the character as well, didn't he?
No, it was a different guy in the suit. And yeah, that's basically where the episode ends. It ends literally on a shot of Paz Vizsla's dead body. And Din's in the custody of Moff Gideon, and Bo-Katan and a bunch of Mandalorians are escaping. So, see you next week, guys. Tune in, because the finale is going to be fucking mental.
Tune in. Same Mando place in Mando channel.
Same Mando time.
Oh my god, that episode was emotional as fuck. Even
it was really good as well.
It was really well done. Like, guys, we get it. People really didn't like the episode. Like, most people's grievances with last episode with Lizzo and Jack Black in was the fact that they were in it.
Yeah,
and I'm just
famous faces.
And I'm just like, who gives a fuck? They've done that many times before. Star Wars has done cameos before, but they've done cameos in the way that the person was wearing prosthetics. Simon Pegg was in the sequel trilogy. The recent James Bond actor was in one of them. So, and he was a stormtrooper though. So, yeah, they've done it before, but people just forget about it because they're in prosthetics. But when they actually show their face, nope, no, everybody gets angry. And I've heard that a lot of people say that felt like a Clone Wars episode, and I was like, yeah, it did, but a good one.
That's a good thing.
It was a good thing. We love Clone Wars. But it was one episode. Just leave it. But other than that, same with like having the guy from Back to the Future. So what? It was cool to see him in something. And I've got to admit, this episode was fucking fantastic. Did you mention Moff Gideon?
Sort of like a main part of the episode, Jordan.
Moff Gideon in his own like little armor was fucking mint. Like, I saw the helmet. Yeah, he said it was Dark Trooper.
Very tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the helmet did have spikes on it. Like
It did look like very moldy.
from its certain perspective, like from a certain angle, it did look like it had horns on it, like moles, Mandalorians did.
But it could be because he's technically the armorer of the Empire,
Yeah.
and the armorer's armor has
And
horns on
the
it.
armor are made of Beskar alloy.
I sort of would like, because I'm noticing a lot of similarities between the armorer and Gideon's armor.
Mm.
I would love it if there was a reveal of the armorer's identity. It turned out to be like Moff Gideon's sister or something.
Or could you imagine
I think that would be so
that?
funny.
That would actually, I wouldn't mind it. I like the armorer, but to be honest, having the armorer be this like secret villain would actually be pretty cool.
Like she left.
Yeah, she thought.
She
Well, she went to take the injured.
yeah. Which, by the way, that Mandalorian fleet is fucking epic.
Yeah, it is, and I'm really excited to see where like the final goes. Like, guys, next week, as you have you guys watching this, we would have legit watched the final. So, and then the week after is the when we upload the final episode. I'm just saying, one more episode of this show, one more, and me and Will, don't have a show to review until June.
Yeah, until good old Secret Invasion.
Yeah, we don't have anything to review till June, and to be honest, it's going to be alright to have a break, but I'm going to miss it. So we've got to crunch down and try and get a review out for Arrow Season 2. We've got to try, at least.
Oh, this episode. And
yeah.
it's always episode 7 of each season. Like at this point it's predictable for me because I was sat there last week. I said to you, listen, get ready for next week. It's gonna be big.
It's going to be
Like,
emotional.
think about it like this: season 1, episode 7 introduced Moff Gideon, right? Season 2, episode 7 reintroduced Max May, not what's his name, Bill Burr's character, Max Mayfield, the sniper, the marksman for the Empire, and was one of the best episodes that we had at the time. And now season 3, episode 7 has given us more Mandalorian culture, a badass Mandalorian fleet, and probably one of the most badass deaths ever.
I've just got to say, Moff Gideon in this episode, I think he's been the most evil that he's been.
Oh yeah, he has been the most
because even in this, I feel like he only wanted to take out the Mandalorians. Like, he's got a grudge against them.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's got a grudge against Mando. So he wants to take over Mandalore. And he basically even says he wants to use Mandalore for the Empire and rule the Empire using Mandalorian armor and people. He even says something about I will use the power of cloning, power of the Empire, and the Republic and Mandalorian all together to rule. So even I was sat there thinking, wait, so is everybody in those armor clones?
Maybe.
Like, that's what I was thinking. And Thrawn was mentioned as well.
Thrawn was indeed mentioned.
Yeah, fucking Moff Gideon was like, fuck Thrawn.
Yeah.
It was like he really didn't want to wait for Thrawn. So something's gonna happen in the final episode that probably will weave into Ahsoka.
I feel like we'll get Ahsoka season 1, maybe Ahsoka season 2, and then we'll get Mando season 4.
Well, I've just seen on Twitter that the plans, for the plans for the movies?
Yeah.
Lucasfilm are currently hoping to release the Rey film in 2025, and then the year after they want to release the Mandoverse movie.
So 2026, Ahsoka's this year, and then if they do Ahsoka,
That's not final. That's what they're hoping.
If they do Ahsoka season 2 in 2024 as well, that'd be 2 years of Ahsoka, and then if they do 2025, they do Mando and then the movie. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
What would you put in this episode, Jordan?
Oh man, I'm tempted for a 10. I really am. I want to know what yours is, but I'm tempted for a 10.
I am going to give this episode a 9.6 out of 10.
Right, I'll go with yours, but I'm gonna lean like to that and a 10, at least.
Yeah.
Like, that was fucking phenomenal, and I can't wait for the final. And I can't wait to see what Din does.
I can't wait to see how he escapes, because he's going to escape.
I feel like he...
Unless they're going to cap Din Djarin and just shoot him in the head and, like, end his character, which would be so sad.
I want to see Grogu actually do something.
Do you know what I think would be so funny? Do you know if Din's escaping and Moff Gideon's, they're, like, having a fight? Could you imagine if Grogu just waddles in with the IG thing and just hits no, and then force pushes him?
That'd be fucking great.
That episode would get a 10 out of 10 instantly.
I want Grogu to actually go fucking full on throttle on the man.
Grogu's gonna force pull the
thing
dark
is,
saber.
I really, if we do, like, especially if we do get another season, if we do get another season of Mando, if we get season 4, I'm hoping that they will age Grogu a little.
Make him less baby.
I think we should get him at least teenager. And then...
Well, he's like 60 years old.
Like, where he's old enough to speak, but he's old enough to, like, do stuff himself.
He can speak now, he just hits no.
But I also want him to be able to wear Mandalorian armor.
Same. Mando armor, give him the dark saber.
Could you imagine if they actually did that?
Grogu is the Mandalorian.
Because I saw something online where someone did some fan art that what if Grogu became a Force user Mandalorian with armor.
Second Mandalorian Jedi.
Yeah, it'd be the second, and basically that's what he is. He basically puts on the armor, and he gets a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Could you fucking imagine? Could you imagine? Also, I've just read something here. Wes Chatham, I don't know if I said that right, will star as the right-hand man to Thrawn in the Ahsoka series. I'll send you the tweet when we finish.
Well, is there anything else?
No.
Well, in that case, I do hope that everyone did enjoy this review of The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 7, Chapter 23, The Spies. I have been one of your hosts, Azteral. That's your cue, Jordan.
I've been your host, Slasher.
And as always, if you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that garbage that YouTube has asked you to do. If you didn't like it, dislike. We don't care. We like engagement. God, I don't know where to go from that. Yeah, we just like engagement. We'll see you next week for the next one. Remember, this is the way.
This is the way.
We forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
It's over, Anakin!